Hey viewers and viewers, my name is General Red Strategist and welcome back to Sir Being Hunted, episode 200, not 200, sorry. God, Jesus, suddenly we've gone back in time, ladies and gentlemen. 623, that's what I was trying to say, not 223. God, what even was my 223rd episode of Sir Being Hunted? Was that a challenge? Was that a podcast style episode? I can't remember, it's been so long. So many years, and of course, as like I said in the last episode when Phil and Connor joined me for that post-Christmas 2023 roundup, I feel like I've been stuck in this game, or I am going to be stuck in this game rather, till the end of time, till the end of the universe and all that. Actually recording this one the same day as the last episode as the last episode was recorded, I should say, not went out. I nearly said went out. So yes, it is evening. It has gone 8:30 in the evening, so I do apologise if I fluff up some of the things that I'm saying here, even more spectacularly than I did before. Now, you'll recognise, of course, we're back on the same map as last time, just because this is another podcast-style episode and all that, ladies and gentlemen. Because, thing is, I'm sure some of you may well have anticipated that, of course, with the Christmas period being over, I may well have got my hands on some more games on Steam, things like that, because Lord knows I don't have enough already. And so some of you may be sort of wondering, always at Christmas there's always a Steam sale on when lots of games are going for dirt cheap and whatever else have you. So what sort of games, or anything have you potentially been buying there, Red? Well, absolutely, I have bought quite a few games. In fact, I've because the thing is, I had so many games prior to Christmas on my Steam wishlist. I had about like 70 or 80 games listed on there. As of the recording of this video now, that number is actually down to 50, 55, 56, 57-ish, round about there. I can't remember the exact number off the top of my head, so as you can imagine, I had a bit of a splurge over Christmas, because thing is, a lot of the games that were on my wish list did go on offer, and some of them went on offer for very, very cheap prices. So naturally, I ended up buying them, because also I'd had a bonus from work, one-off little Christmas bonus for good performance throughout the year at work and all that, which, that's not me trying to do a humble brag, by the way, but it just means that I had a bit of money, so I had a bit of disposable income, so I thought, fuck it, I'm going to take some of that cash, I'm going to buy myself some more games. Some more games, which of course, it'll be probably years before I fucking play them, because I've got so many already in my Steam library that I want to play, and I'm looking at them and I'm thinking I want to play some of these on my channel, but realistically, I'm not going to be able to play all of them on my channel, because, the amount of time it does to do a playthrough, especially of a longer game and all that. So, but I bought them anyway. So what sort of games did I purchase? I actually purchased a few sort of survival crafting games, because the thing is, obviously, a few years ago, I did play survival crafting games a lot on my channel, like The Forest, Raft, Stranded Deep, even a bit of The Long Dark. But I haven't really done those sorts of games in a while, other than, the occasional video on The Forest. But recently, I bought a load more of them. So, for example, has anyone heard of that one Void Train? The one that's like a weird sort of interdimensional adventure where you're on a train and you have to build it up. So I bought that one. That's a game that I want to play at some point. I'll probably do so on the channel. So that one looks very, very interesting, I think mainly because it has that sort of unique gimmick to it. Obviously like the train and sort of gathering resources to build it up, that kind of thing. But some other survival games that I did buy as well, apart from Void Train. Sons of the Forest, the sequel to The Forest, I actually now own that. And that actually makes me think that what I really need to do is go back to The Forest itself and actually continue playing through that again until I get the updated endings for that. Because that's the thing, the first time I found the ending of The Forest was quite some time ago, when it was in an earlier state, but apparently since I played it fully, in the months that followed, there were updates to that game, which meant that the endings were massively fleshed out. So I'm going to need to come back to The Forest, I think, and do that at some point. Actually play through, get back to the ending again, see what it looks like now, since all the updates that it had months and months ago. And then, potentially I could start Sons of the Forest and actually play that one. So that would be definitely a good one to play. Another survival game, a survival crafting game that I picked up, which I'm sure many of you will have heard of, Forever Skies. You heard of that one, ladies and gentlemen? The one that think of it as being a little bit like Raft, where you're on a vessel, except instead of being a seagoing vessel, you're actually on an airship, and so you have to like fly around, land on the decimated remains of structures, and harvest resources, uncover elements of the story, things like that. So that looks a really interesting one, and I'm probably going to, never know, maybe do a playthrough of that on the channel at some point, because I think that certainly looks like something that would be interesting to do. There was another one, actually, that I just had in mind literally a second ago, and I've completely forgotten what it was. What was the other one? What was another of the ones that I bought? Sons of the Forest, Void Train, Forever Skies. There was another one. Which one was it? Oh, yes. Yes, I remember. Do you remember the demo that I played a while ago for that I Am Future one? The cozy apocalypse survival game that had very much like the very colourful aesthetic and the top-down perspective. I think, if I remember correctly, I think I did buy the full version of that as well, because it was on offer and it was going cheap, so fuck it. Yeah, I think I bought it. I think I did. I'm sure I did. So that's another one that probably I'd be interested in maybe doing a bit more of a playthrough of, because I already have a playlist for that, because I think I did about 2 or 3 episodes of the demo, I do think, before I reached sort of what I thought might have been a bug. So I'd be interested in, going to that, restarting it, and maybe seeing how far I can play in it. I'm sure it'd be very, very interesting. So that's good. So that's some like survival crafting games that I bought, but there are other games as well that I did purchase. So for example, I got some more like strategy kind of games as well. For instance, I bought one called Terra Nil. So some of you may have heard of that. I actually saw a couple of videos of that over on the Angori Tom channel and thought it looked very interesting. If you don't know what Terra Nil is, it's basically sort of like a strategy, not management game, but I suppose kind of like resource management sort of game, where basically you have like a poisoned world and you have to sort of bring life back to it. It's very much about kind of reconstructing natural environments, things like that. But it does look just really colourful, really pleasant. So that's a game that I bought. Another strategy game I bought, They Are Billions, which I'm sure you've all heard of. The sort of RTS game where you build a colony and you have to protect it from zombies, things like that. So bought that one because I've had that one on my wish list for quite some time, and I thought to myself, I would like to give it a shot because apparently it's nice and challenging, and I do like the general vibe and aesthetic of it. So that's something, if you're interested, maybe I'd be prepared to do that, because I've had the odd person from time to time, the odd viewer, asking if I'd ever play more things like strategy and RTS games, and I definitely want to, because as when I record this, first episode of my Strategic Campaign Season 3 just went out, video on Annihilate the Spans demo, so that was, that's been good. So I'll definitely be trying to do maybe a bit more strategy related stuff as well this year, hopefully. So yeah, Terra Nil, that one, They Are Billions, mentioned that one. Other games that just immediately spring to mind in terms of things I bought. Flotsam, you heard of that one? It's like a sort of colony builder one, which is set at sea, where you have to like harvest resources from the water and then build stuff with it. It's a bit like if Raft wasn't a first-person survival game. It's a bit like if Raft was more of a, how should I say, kind of like a top-down colony builder, in essence. So I'm sure there'd be people who'd probably be interested in seeing me play that one. And another one that I can actually remember off the top of my head that I also bought, Project Zomboid, which I was actually surprised initially, because I thought Project Zomboid was a game that came out recently, but it turns out it's not. Turns out Project Zomboid has been around since about 2013. But, yeah, I sort of encountered screenshots of it recently, and I'd seen sort of clips of like Yogscast people playing it and things like that, and thought, it looks kind of interesting. Granted, it is zombie survival, so it's, it's a tad sort of... It sort of fits in that genre that is a tad overdone, to put it that way, which is, zombies. But, I don't know, I'm not going to let that necessarily stop me, because it's got good ratings. people do seem to like it, so I'm willing to give it a shot, you know? Don't knock it till you tried it and all that, but yeah, so Project Zomboid. So that's just, I think, a selection of games that I've purchased during the Steam Christmas sale and all that. I think there were others as well that I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but indeed, you know, there's a lot of options basically for 2024. So plenty of stuff that I could be playing, and you know, as always, there are other games that I, for example, mentioned. For example, even in the last episode, that I'd be interested in doing, especially that collab series potentially, because you know, last episode Connor did signal that he'd be open to the idea of me and him doing some collab stuff. Because obviously he has a Steam account, he has games on there, including games that I also happen to have, which do have co-op multiplayer options for them, like the Orcs Must Die games. I'd love to play those ones co-op. The thing is, like Orcs Must Die 2, I've talked before about how, you know, for my strategic campaign Season 1, several years ago, I did do 3 videos on Orcs Must Die 2, just, you know, previewing different modes and things like that. But I would love to do an actual proper playthrough of it. And whilst I could, in theory, always do a single-player playthrough of it, I feel like I'd want to do it collab with a friend, because I feel like it's a game that really you get a lot out of if there's 2 of you. And similarly, Orcs Must Die 3, which I think I do have, I think I've mentioned before, yeah, I think I do have it in my Steam library, which, again, I believe does have co-op, and probably will be very rewarding to play that with a friend. So there's all kinds of stuff that you know, me and him could potentially do, and hell, we could even just get Phil like sitting in the background watching on Discord. You know, the more the merrier and all that. Have a little conversation as me and Connor shoot down waves of orcs or whatever. I don't know. It'd be good, you know. Who knows? 2024. It's the year of possibilities, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of things that I could be getting on with, but you know, I've got obviously tons of other games that I've mentioned before in my Steam and GOG libraries that I'd be up for playing, which I still intend to play at some point. That's new games, old games, indie games, blah blah blah. Games of all kinds of genres: horror, survival, shooters, etc., etc. The thing is, you know, I also think I need to go back over games that some of my viewers have suggested to me at varying times, and maybe have a think about just sort of, you know, playing some viewer recommendations, like Wolfenstein the Old Blood, for instance. That's been recommended to me a long time ago, or suggested that I play that, so definitely want to give that a shot. And there are other things as well. But yeah, God, such yeah, I really splashed out during the Christmas Steam sale. Got tons and tons of stuff, so plenty of stuff for you to, you know, to potentially keep the channel going this year. But if there's you know, any videos, any games that I've mentioned so far here, particularly of the ones that I bought over the Christmas period, any that really sort of take your fancy in terms of, you know what, I'd be very interested in seeing you do a playthrough of that, Red, or whatever, then sure, you know, let me know in the comments, and I'll sort of keep them in mind, because like I say, there's a few survival games, and I think some of those survival games I mentioned, some of them may well have co-op options. I think Void Train, does Void Train not have co-op, potentially? I mean, again, obviously this would depend on friends like Connor, for instance, if they actually own that game, but maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, I don't know. But if he did, then that's another option right there, potentially. So, there's plenty of options, and like I say, you know, if anything that I've said takes your fancy, just let me know in the comments below. Oh man, so yeah, those games bought during the Christmas and they said the Christmas summer sale then, during the Christmas sale, and no doubt though Steam will probably have another sale at some point in the coming months, which will end up with me just adding a ton more titles to my freaking Steam library, and I'll be sat there just like, oh god, I've too many games to play, not enough time to play them all. Thing is, I do need to bite the bullet, and like, some of these games I could probably just play in my own time and all that, which is something actually I don't know if I've mentioned, I probably have mentioned it before, but for example, quite a few years ago I bought a load of visual novels on Steam after I first played Danganronpa, and I thought, you know what, maybe it's worth buying some visual novels of other genres and trying them out. And I was thinking at first, you know, some of those I might do on the channel, and some of them I did, but but others, you know, I've just started playing on my own because I'm thinking, at this rate, I don't think I'm ever going to do them on the channel or anything like that. I'm going to be waiting for ages before I actually, you know, play them on the channel, if ever. So, might as well just play them and all that. Oh yeah. But the thing is, with the Strategic Campaign Season 3 starting up, I'm going to be playing a load of demos for strategy games that are available, well, not available on Steam, sorry, which are upcoming on Steam. And the thing is, already, having played a few of them, I've already added a load of other games now to my wish list for things to keep an eye on. Games which, in essence, I played the demos of, recorded them for Strategic Campaign, and which I enjoyed those demos so much that I decided, you know what, I'm going to fucking keep an eye on that game. I'm going to keep an eye on its development, to keep it on the wish list, because it's always something that, you know, we could potentially play. You never know, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. That's the beauty, though, sometimes of doing series like Strategic Campaign, or just playing demos rather than full games, because you just get ideas for things that look really, really interesting. Stuff like that. And you know, I've mentioned before in the past how I also have a couple of physical copies of old, like, 2003 games, which obviously not available anywhere else, which I bought second-hand from eBay. Which, you never know, if I can get them working, you may well see playthroughs of those too. That actually reminds me though, as when I record this, there's another Chiller's Art horror game. Actually, yes, that's another game I did buy over the Christmas sale. There's another Chiller's Art horror game that got released and I haven't played it yet. It's been out for at least a week or two. I think, was it called Chisatso? Something like that. So I need to obviously take a look at that at some point, because you know me, I do like my Chiller's Art horror, short J horror titles. They're pretty good. So that's something that, yeah, I'll definitely play on the channel at some point. I'll probably do it as bonus content. Because the thing is, I don't know if I'll... If I was to do it as a main series, I won't be able to do it anytime soon, because obviously Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach is still ongoing at the moment, and obviously as soon as I finish that, I'm going to be going straight into the Ruin DLC for it, in all likelihood. And obviously Commandos Behind Enemy Lines is still ongoing at the moment, and that's taking a while, because obviously there's still a ton of missions to do in that. So yeah, Chisatso probably will do that as bonus content when I get the chance, so that I can get it out sooner rather than later. I think it's called Chisatso, isn't it? Unless I'm messing that up and it's actually Chisatsu, something like that, I don't know. I forget the exact name of it, okay? It's something Japanese, ladies and gentlemen. That's all you need to know. Isn't that right, Sea Beast? Oh yes, Andrew. Japanese J-horror game. Oh. You know, saying Japanese J-horror actually is one of those kind of redundant phrases, isn't it? Because basically what you're saying is Japanese horror. Because, you know, J-horror means Japanese horror, doesn't it? Or Japan horror or whatever, which is fairly self-explanatory. Not that we're going to get ourselves into a conversation here about redundant words and semantics or whatever and all that. Okie doke. But yeah, you know, what about you guys watching this? Might as well invite a bit of viewer interaction if anyone wants to take me up on that. Did you buy any games during the Steam Christmas sale? If so, which ones? Any good uns? Any that maybe you'd be willing to suggest? Because I'm always open to ideas and all that. Maybe I can have a look on this, you know, if you recommend something to me, I can have a look at its Steam page, see if it looks like something maybe that would interest me, and if it is, potentially I could put it on my wish list, see if it ever goes on offer at any point. I'm sure that'd be good, ladies and gents, wouldn't it not? Would it not, ladies and gentlemen? Oh yeah, actually, there's another game I just remembered that I bought during the Christmas sale. Sorry, I know I'm sort of jumping about topic to topic here, as I always do, but another game that I did buy, Fort Solis, which, if anyone doesn't know, is kind of like a sci-fi, narrative-driven walking sim game, at least according to the tags. Looks very good. So that's something else that you may well see on the channel at some point. That's in another game called Under the Waves, which I didn't actually buy in the Christmas sale, I bought it in another sale before that. That's another very narrative-driven game, which maybe we'll see, who knows. Who knows, ladies and gentlemen. But these are all, you know, interesting ideas, and I'm sure people probably would listen to some of those and they would think, oh yes, it sounds good. But, you know, as always, you know, I will sort of emphasise, if there is anything in there that takes your fancy, something you would like to see me play, you know, don't just leave a like on the video, please do leave a comment just telling me. Because that's the thing, you know, sometimes in videos where I sort of ask people, would you like to see me do, you know, videos on such and such a game, or more videos on such and such a game, or whatever, I tend to get likes, but I always say, you know, if you want to comment and actually say it, please do. Because a like, you know, doesn't necessarily tell me if you're specifically wanting me to do more of a certain game or something. It just tells me you liked a video in general. So, just saying that right now. And that's not me whoring for comments here, just to put it that way. That's me being genuinely curious if there's anything that you'd want to see me play in particular of any of the games that I've mentioned in this video. Before, you know, we get that one smart aleck in the comments who's like, oh, Red, look at him, I see his game. He's trying to friggin' get people to like the video and comment. What a fucking loser, dislike. Yes, because we know that person exists on the internet and all that. Alright, I think that's probably enough for a podcast-style episode today, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? I pretty much wanted really to do an episode like this where I just talk about the games I bought in the Christmas sale more than anything. Because, you know, whenever there's sales, I always usually like to have an episode of Sir or something where I get to talk about, you know, what I've purchased, in case anyone wants to know, and therefore make any sort of recommendations in terms of, oh, that game in particular is very interesting, Red, and I think you should maybe give that one a shot. Oh, God. Ow, just whacked my finger on the edge of my desk like a numpty. You probably all heard that, didn't you? Alright, time to wrap up. Facebook and Twitter links down below, along with the link to my propagandist channel for anyone interested, and if you enjoyed, a like is of course always appreciated and all that jazz. But other than that, this is General Red signing off. Goodbye, everybody. Boom. Entity. That is not what I was expecting, I'll be honest with you. So I am a bit concerned about you. I'm just going to go. That just no. What the hell is this? This is not what I expected. So we had like a picture of a